In this video, we're going to look at how you use DaVinci Resolve to simply edit a movie file. We're just going to be looking at the edits that you can put on the beginning and the end of a video, and also how you add titles. In this video, I'm not going to look at any of the audio manipulation. That'll be handled in another video. So before you get started, you probably want to create an area on your hard drive of where you're going to store all the videos that you're going to edit. I've got mine set to a storage drive on my Mac, and I simply label it, Upline Church, and then the date of the service that we're going to be editing. And then I put all the videos in a sources folder. This just makes sure that I'm only editing source videos, and that when I upload videos to YouTube, I actually pick the right video, not the source, not the thing that's come in, but the one that's been edited and ready to go out. So over here I have my downloads folder, and I'm simply going to move a video from there into my sources folder, and there it goes, moving it across. And this is Robin's welcome video, because I don't have Clive's some video for this week yet, so we're just going to edit this and see what it looks like. So now you need to go ahead and open DaVinci Resolve. This will take a few moments as it initializes all the different parts. If you don't have a copy, you can simply go to the Black Magic Design website and download a copy there. Now you notice when it opens up, it will ask you either to open a previous project or create a new one. It doesn't work in terms of kind of saving a project file somewhere specifically. It has an internal database which you can see. Now I'm just going to open up a previous video for reference, but obviously you won't have that at the moment, but I'll show you how we do a new one. But let's just open that previous one. Now here's the layout, and we'll go over this in a minute, but the first thing that you need to do is make sure that in your DaVinci Resolve, in your preferences, and I guess this will probably be under the file menu on a Windows machine because it's a Mac machine. So in preferences, we need to make sure that we go to the media storage section. Now this is really important because DaVinci needs to have access to the files that you're going to be using, and out of the box, as it were, it won't know where you're going to be storing your videos. And again, this is a good reason why you need to store all your videos in the same place, so that you just have to do this just the once when you start up. And you notice this is on the system tab, not on the user tab. So system media storage, and then you can see in here that I've got two storage locations. So one is the movies folder on the Mac, and the other one is on my storage hard drive, and that is Upline Church Online. I choose kind of the base level of folder, and then put lots of folders under that because it acts recursively. And you add your position in by simply clicking this button down here, going add, and then navigating to the right folder. Now if you do want to just use the movies folder, if you're on a Mac, you'll notice that DaVinci will have set up a share on users, then whatever your username is, movies, and then DaVinci afterwards. You probably want to remove that one and just give access to DaVinci of the whole movies folder, because otherwise you could run into problems, and it will probably spit out an alert. But once you've done that, hit save. If that's the first time that you've done this, it will ask you to reload Resolve. But yeah, we can kind of ignore that for now. But if you're following this, you'll probably see Resolve saying that it needs to restart. So you need to shut it down and then reload it again. Okay, so once we've done that, this is a typical project. But I'll go through that from the start. So we've kind of jumped into one. Now there's one thing that I want to do, and that's to show how you can copy elements from a project that you've already had. So I think I'm going to share this file with you, and you should see it all come in, apart from that it obviously won't have the video. So these bits here, the video line and the and the audio track, they'll both be blank, but the thing we actually want is the titles here. Now if we see here, we can see that the titles pop up, and it's as simple as right clicking on the title here and clicking copy, and now we've copied that to the pasteboard. So now ignore all this and let's click up here and say new project. Don't save. Actually, I'm gonna I'm gonna go up here and say the project manager actually. So that's this one here, because then this is the screen that you'll see. So on opening Resolve, that will pop the project manager, and probably if you haven't used it before, you won't have any projects here. So go down the bottom, hit new project. We don't want to save that, and then create a new project. Now I always call it by the date. So this was on the 17th, and then this was the welcome. Right, so here we have a fresh project. Now down the bottom here, you'll see there are 7 different buttons, and in theory they're supposed to be in order. So you start with your media, then you might go through a cutting process, then you edit your video, then you might do some fancy graphics, then you edit the color of the video, then you work on the sound, and then you deliver it. Now don't worry, this program has a lot of functionality and we won't be using much of it. But it's good to start in media because we have no video to work on. Now, if you followed the steps before and you've added your storage locations in preferences, then you should see them up here on the left-hand side. If you've got a smaller screen than mine, which won't be surprising, you just need to make sure that you click this button here, the media storage tab, and then that will open up. So here we can see all the folders I have. So I'm going to navigate here, go to sources, and then there you go. Here are the videos I have. Now all you need to do, you can play these, you can scrub through them like this. But all you need to do is drag it from here and into the pool. Now at this point it will probably pop up this frame rate notification. Don't worry about that, just click change and it will take care of everything for you. Now, if we go to the edit window, we don't need to worry about the cut window. If we go to edit, then we should see here that we can see our files in media pool. And again, if you haven't got that clicked, you won't see it. You also need to make sure that you turn on the effects library, because otherwise some of the basic functions won't appear. So in this window, make sure you have the media pool open and the effects library open. Now here we have that video again, and again I can scrub through it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to click and drag on that video down now to our timeline, and I'm just going to make sure that I've pulled that right to the start of the timeline. I'm going to let go, and that's now brought the video in. Now here we go, we have Robin staring at us, and let's just see what this looks like right at the start. So you can either click the play button up here, but by habit I'm used to using the space bar to play, so I'm going to hit space and then we'll see what Robin does.
Good morning and welcome to our 10 o'clock service from Upline Church.
Now you notice there was a bit of a delay there, so I'm going to roll this forward just to when Robin starts smiling and get rid of his kind of blankly staring face. And all I'm doing here, so if that was a bit quick, but I'm going right to the start of the video, hovering over it, and then you'll notice this trim icon shows up, and then I'm just going to pull it back to where I want to go, and it actually snaps with the cursor. So there we go. And by the way, if you didn't see how you move the cursor, you just click around in the timeline up here, or you can click and hold and it will drag and scrub around. Now what we've done now is we've actually made the start of the video black, which if I do this, you'll see that it will kind of pop in like that. So what we need to do is now drag back the video and the audio like this. So we've now edited up the start of the video, and that's something that we'll probably have to do on everything. And we probably now want to add in just some simple fades. So in the video transitions here, you can see here we've got video and audio transitions. And actually, if we just click up here on Toolbox, then we'll see all of them. We want to add a cross dissolve on the video at the start, and this will essentially mean it fades in from black. So if I click on that and drag it over to the start of the video, you'll see if I get it in the right place, I've got to get it just about right, it will drop a cross dissolve in place. And if we play this, we'll see that Robin fades up. Now we want to do the same thing to the audio because it sounds a bit strange with a black screen and hearing some audio. So we now have a crossfade to 0 dB. So that means it's a crossfade from silence, and we click that and we move it over onto the audio track. Now, if you hadn't already guessed, the video and the audio are split out, as you can see here. So we have video in blue and audio in green. And we can actually resize these tracks by just clicking on them, well, hovering over the margins, and then you'll see the resize arrow. And that one moves it, and then this one should actually move the video. And I can also move the video up there. So if you need to see things a bit bigger, you can. Right, so now we've done the start of the video. Now let's skip to the end. And we'll notice, there we go, that Robin finishes. And I'm just dragging across, scrubbing through, and I can see that he starts moving his arms. So it's probably a good idea to end the video here. So again, I hover over the end of the video, highlight it and drag it. It will snap to the cursor, and that's it. I'm done. I now add in a cross fade to the audio right at the end. There we go. And add in a cross dissolve again for the video. And that's it. We are done. Okay. Now, the one last thing that we might want to do is add in a title. So I'm just going to click where I think I want a title. So here. And I've now cut and pasted that title from a previous project. Now, why I cut and pasted it from a previous project is that then all the settings and all the work and the colors that I'd done will be copied across. So all I need to do is hit edit, paste, and there instantly drops in our title. Now this is really useful because once you've got one project, you can simply cut and paste the title across. And it's quite important because the colors can be a bit of a pain to match. Now, I will show you how you edit that and then how you do it from scratch as well, because we don't actually need any titles on Robin's Welcome. But all you do is in the edit window, you simply click on the title, and then you'll see over here, there's video and Fusion. On this Fusion edit bar, we can see the various things that we can edit. And this is a simple one-line text. So let's move to a place where we can see it all. And then here I can edit the main text. So let's just change it to Robin Hodges. And you'll notice that there's a few things here that usually in church we use something called Gill Sans. So for some reason I haven't selected that. So let's add in Gill Sans there. And again, it doesn't really matter on the main text size. You can change the tracking as well if you want to space it out a little bit, but let's leave that untracked there. So that's fine. And then you'll notice that the background of it is kind of this green color. Now, if you want to peer at these, you should be able to copy the settings across, but I'll also send you the file so that you know how to change it. Now, this is just a very subtle title, and if we play it, we'll see what it looks like.
Good morning and welcome to our 10 o'clock service from Upline Church. As you are aware, our building is still...
Now, if you think that's a little too fast, I think there may well be No, I'm lying. There isn't no way to change the speed, so that's just what it is, basically. No. And that's just a default title that DaVinci has. Now, you may say, what happens if I want to make it longer or shorter? Well, all you do is you simply change the length. So now
Good morning and welcome to
it
our
will
10
last for
o'clock
quite a long
service
time.
from Upline Church. As you are aware, our building is still closed.
So here we go. And that's how we do it. Now, how do you add a title in from scratch if you want to do that? Well, you simply have to do something that may not be that intuitive and come back to the cut screen. Because on this screen, we see we have something called titles. Now, a lot of times it might just look like this. If we go to cut, but up here you can see sync bin, transitions, titles and effects. So click on titles. Here are all the titles that are available. And we tend to go for Upline Church for these ones, which are called lower third. So there's a 1-line box and a 2-line box. And here, if I click on this, now again, this is kind of a bit counterintuitive because you can see it, but you can't edit it. So again, we have to come back to edit, click here, and then this is a section where we put in our text. So we have the main text and the secondary text. So there we go. Now you can change this to whatever you like. If we go to small background, we can change the fade. So let's go to a green, like that. Another green. Change that. So that's a simple way of how you can add some titles in from Resolve. So hopefully that will give you some ideas on basic video editing. Now, once you've done it all, and again, you'll probably want to edit the audio, but once you've done all that, you then want to export it. It's no good having a video just living in Resolve. And right down the bottom here, you can see we have Deliver. So we're going to click on the Deliver tab. And again, you can play it again, just check that it all looks right. And then up here, we see we have render settings. Now you want to just stay on custom. And then again, I usually just put in the date so I don't get confused by anything. And then this is the welcome. And then you'll need to browse and say where you want to store it. And again, you can only store it in a place that you've given DaVinci permissions to store things. So again, I would put this just in the folder of that date. Now again, we want to render a single clip, a video, and we've currently actually now, it's been recommended that we export as an MP4. So select MP4, all this stuff should be automatically filled in. That's interesting. So Robin's video actually came in at 60 frames per second, and so that's what it's going to export. So we'll just leave it at that because it's too difficult to change. Just export in whatever video format they come in as. And here, this codec, that's pretty standard, H.264, but make sure the resolution is set to 1920 by 1080 HD, because we've been putting all our videos out on the Upline channel in HD. So it'd be good to stick to that. Everything else is kind of pre-filled in. You don't have to worry about it. The only thing you do have to do is click this button here, which says Add to Render Queue. So once you've done that, you'll notice it should pop up over here in your render queue. And then all you need to do is hit Start Render. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to save this out. But before you do that, just make sure that you save your project because you may want to come back to it at some point. or your computer might crash. So once you've done that, that's it. Hit start render, it will sit there, probably doing it about real time depending on how good your computer is. Also, if you do have a decent enough computer and it has a graphics card in it, then make sure you click this button here saying use hardware acceleration if available, because that will speed things up. But apart from that, once it's finished, you should then be able to browse to the location that you told it to save to, and you'll see your file. Most operating systems should be able to play it straight away, so you can check it's all good. Once you've done that, you're then ready to upload it to YouTube, and I guess that will probably be a different video. But I hope that's been helpful. If there's any jerkiness on seeing the video on screen, in this preview window here when I've been going through things, don't worry, that's not Resolve. That's probably the screen capture program that I'm using. But I hope this has been helpful, and we'll move on to the next one in a minute, and hopefully you'll be able to watch how to edit the audio, because that's probably a major part of producing a decent video. So see you soon.